All right, so you're prepping for this court reporter interview
Mm.
and feeling kind of overwhelmed by all the potential questions.
Yeah.
We get it. But don't worry, that's what this deep dive is for.
We're going to be using RoleCatcher's resources. Think of it as your secret weapon to help you succeed in this interview.
Yeah, exactly. So we've got their career guide here, which will kind of give us a big picture overview. And then we've got the interview guide, which is jam-packed with common questions and how to approach them. And then on top of that, RoleCatcher also has this really awesome AI that helps tailor your answers to specific jobs. So we're going to dive into all of that a little bit later.
But first things first, right? Let's just make sure that you have a solid understanding of the role itself. So the career guide defines a court reporter as someone who transcribes legal proceedings, basically creating this precise written record of everything that's said.
Okay, so that sounds pretty straightforward. But what does it really mean in practice? I mean, it's got to be more than just typing fast, right?
Oh, absolute. You're not just transcribing, but you're actually contributing to the fairness and the transparency of the legal system. Because these transcripts are used for appeals, reviews, and they can even influence legal decisions down the line.
Wow, that's a pretty big responsibility. So if you get asked in your interview, what experience do you have in court reporting? How do you convey that sense of importance, especially if you're just starting out?
Yeah, that's a good question. And that's where you really want to showcase your passion and any transferable skills you have. So even if you haven't actually worked in a courtroom before, think about experiences that highlight your attention to detail, your ability to focus under pressure, and your commitment to accuracy.
So like what kind of things, what kind of experiences would that be?
Well, did you ever transcribe any lectures or meetings? Did you take very meticulous notes in any classes you took or volunteer work that you did? Maybe you even had a personal project. That really demonstrates an interest in legal proceedings. It's all about connecting those dots for the interviewer.
I see. So even if I don't have direct court reporting experience, I can still really impress them with my dedication and relevant skills.
Exactly.
That's good to know. Now, RoleCatcher's career guide also mentioned how technology is transforming the field. So what does that mean for someone who's prepping for an interview?
I think that's a chance to show your adaptability. You know, mention that you're willing to learn new software, new techniques, highlight any experience you have with voice recognition or digital audio recording. Just show them that you are embracing the future of court reporting.
Okay, so instead of just saying like, I'm a fast typer, I should say something like, I'm proficient in, whatever software. And eager to learn the latest advancements in voice recognition technology.
Exactly, you got it. That shows that you're not stuck in the past, but that you're actively seeking growth in the field. And speaking of growth, the career guide also mentions the possibility of specializing in a specific area of law. So that could be another great talking point, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it shows initiative and passion. So if you're interested in criminal law, medical malpractice, or patent law, mentioning that can really help you stand out.
And it's also a way to align yourself with the needs of the employer. So if the job posting mentions a particular specialization, highlighting your interest in that area is really going to make you a much more attractive candidate.
That makes sense. All right, so we've covered kind of the basics of the role and how to showcase your skills, but let's get to the heart of it here, the actual interview questions themselves. RoleCatcher's interview guide is like a gold mine. So where should we start?
Let's tackle a classic. How do you ensure accuracy in your reporting? So this goes beyond just saying like, oh, I'm careful. You really want to demonstrate a very meticulous approach.
Okay, so what kind of things should I be highlighting there?
So think about the practical steps, like multiple reviews of your work, using specialized software, staying up to date on best practices. You can even mention some specific techniques, like proofreading strategies, or using a second set of ears to double-check your work.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. It shows that you're not just relying on luck, but you're actually taking steps to ensure accuracy. But what if the job posting specifically mentions real-time reporting? How do I tailor my answer for that?
This is where RoleCatcher's AI can really help you out because it actually analyzes the job description and it can identify keywords and skills that the employer is looking for.
So it's like a cheat sheet for the interview.
Exactly. So for example, the AI might suggest that you highlight your typing speed and accuracy stats, or mention any experience you have with specific real-time reporting software.
I'm starting to feel like a secret weapon, like I have a personalized edge.
And the best part is, the AI doesn't just suggest what to say, but it actually gives you feedback on how you're saying it. So you can practice your answers, get tips on your delivery, your tone, even your body language.
Wait a minute. It can analyze my body language through a podcast.
Well, not quite, but it can analyze your vocal tone and your pacing, which are both really important in conveying confidence and professionalism.
That's incredible. I'm starting to see how this AI can really boost my chances.
It's all about giving you the tools to put your best foot forward. And speaking of putting your best foot forward, why don't we move on to another common question? How do you handle difficult or technical language during court proceedings?
Oh, that's a good one. I mean, legal terminology can be pretty intimidating.
Absolutely. But this is your chance to really shine. The key is to show them that you've got the research skills and the ability to learn and adapt.
So should I just memorize like a bunch of legal terms?
Not really. It's more about showing them that you understand how to research and apply legal terminology. So for example, let's say you're asked about the term habeas corpus. Instead of just reciting the definition, why don't you give them a hypothetical example of how it might be used in court?
So like if a lawyer argued that a client's detention was unlawful, they might file a writ of habeas corpus.
To challenge that detention, exactly, you've shown them that you understand the term and how it applies in a real-world scenario. And again, RoleCatcher's AI can really help you here because it can help you identify potential terminology based on that specific job description. So you can really target your preparation.
Okay, this is making me feel a lot more confident about tackling these questions.
That's what we're here for. But we've only just scratched the surface here. There are still questions about time management, handling sensitive testimony, even using technology effectively. That we need to cover.
Don't worry, we're going to unpack all of those using RoleCatcher's insights to make sure that you are ready for anything. So stay tuned for part 2 of our deep dive.
Welcome back to our deep dive into prepping for this court reporter interview.
Last time we were talking about how to showcase your skills and even how RoleCatcher's AI can like give you this personalized edge. It's almost like having like a coach in your pocket, you know, analyzing job descriptions, giving you feedback on your answers.
It really is amazing what technology can do. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. We've got plenty more interview questions to conquer.
Yeah, you're right. And I have to admit, some of these make me a little nervous. Like, how do I answer something like, how do you handle sensitive or emotional testimony during court proceedings? That seems like a really delicate situation.
It is. And the interviewer wants to see that you can handle it with professionalism and empathy. So RoleCatcher suggests focusing on your ability to remain neutral and detached, while still recognizing the weight of what's being said.
So it's about finding that balance between being objective, but also being human.
Exactly. You could say something like, I understand that court proceedings can involve difficult and emotional subject matter, and my focus is on providing an accurate and impartial record, while remaining respectful of all parties involved.
Yeah, that sounds like a really good approach. It shows you're taking the responsibility seriously.
Oh.
Okay, here's another one that I find a bit tricky. How do you manage your time? During court proceedings, it just seems like there's so much going on at once.
Oh, there definitely is. You're listening, transcribing, keeping track of who's speaking, making sure you're capturing everything accurately. So yeah, the interviewer really wants to know that you can handle that pressure and that you can stay organized.
So what are some key things that I should be highlighting in my answer?
So talk about your efficient note-taking skills, your ability to prioritize key information, how you stay calm under pressure. You could even mention techniques like shorthand or speed typing, just to really emphasize your ability to keep up with the pace.
And if the job posting specifically mentions using, certain software or technology, I definitely weave that into my answer too.
Absolutely. You want to show them that you're comfortable with the tools of the trade. And this is where RoleCatcher's AI feedback can be so helpful. Imagine practicing your answer and getting suggestions on how to really quantify your experience. Like saying, I've successfully transcribed X number of hours of testimony per week while using, whatever software.
That's really cool. It's like having a personalized coach who knows exactly what the employer's looking for.
All right, so let's tackle another one that really emphasizes accuracy and attention to detail. How do you maintain confidentiality in your reporting?
Right. This is obviously huge in the legal world. What are some practical steps that I can mention to show that I take this seriously?
So talk about using secure software, password protection, being mindful of who has access to sensitive information. You can also mention adhering to very strict ethical guidelines and understanding the legal consequences of breaching confidentiality.
And here's where I think that extra layer of research Using RoleCatcher's AI could really come in handy. If I can find information about the employer's specific security protocols, then I can tailor my answer to show that I'm already aligned with their values.
Exactly. You could say something like, I'm familiar with data encryption practices, and I would strictly adhere to all company protocols for protecting confidential information.
Perfect. Okay, we're making good progress here. But I know there's still some potentially challenging questions out there. What about something like, how do you handle conflicts or disagreements during court proceedings? I mean, things can get pretty heated in a courtroom.
Oh, they certainly can. But remember, your role is to be that impartial observer, accurately recording what's said, regardless of any tension in the room.
Right. So how do I convey that in my answer?
So to just focus on your ability to remain calm, neutral, and focused on the task at hand. So you could say something like, if a conflict arises, I would stay focused on accurately capturing all statements and objections in the transcript, just ensuring a complete and unbiased record of the proceedings.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's about showing that you won't get swayed by emotions or caught up in the drama. You're there to do your job and do it well, no matter what.
Precisely. And that professionalism and that dedication, it's going to go a long way in impressing the interviewer.
All right, we're really hitting our stride here. But before we move on to the final stretch of questions, I want to touch on something that we briefly mentioned earlier, which is the impact of technology on the field of court reporting.
Yeah, it's a hot topic, and it's definitely something you should be prepared to discuss in your interview.
So beyond just mentioning specific software, how can I demonstrate that I'm forward-thinking and adaptable when it comes to technology?
I think it's about showing that you're not just using technology, but you're understanding its potential impact on the profession as a whole.
So like how voice recognition technology could change the role of a court reporter.
That's a great example. You could talk about how this technology is evolving, its potential benefits in terms of speed and efficiency, but also the need for human oversight to ensure accuracy and to handle those complex legal terms.
Right, so it's not about being afraid of technology, replacing human court reporters. It's about understanding how to work alongside it and even leveraging it to enhance the profession.
Exactly. And that kind of insight shows that you're thinking critically about the future of the field and that you're ready to be a part of its evolution.
This is all making me feel so much more prepared and confident about this interview.
And that's what we want. But we've got more ground to cover. So next time we're going to tackle questions about ensuring accessibility, staying up to date with industry changes, and maybe even a few unexpected curveballs.
Well, I'm ready for them. Stay tuned for part 3 of our deep dive, where we'll wrap up this interview prep and send you off feeling confident and prepared to land that court reporting job. All right, welcome back to our final session here. On prepping for this court reporter interview, it's been quite a journey. We've covered a lot of ground. From those tricky questions about accuracy and confidentiality to like really understanding how technology is shaping the future of this whole field.
Yeah, and with RoleCatcher's AI on your side, you've got a personalized toolkit to help you craft those perfect answers and even get feedback on how you're delivering them.
It really is like having that secret weapon for interview success. But before we send you off to conquer that interview, there are a few more crucial areas that I think we need to explore.
Yeah, you're right. Let's tackle some questions about ensuring accessibility, staying up to date with the latest industry changes, and maybe even a few unexpected curveballs that you might encounter along the way.
Okay, bring on the curveballs. I'm feeling pretty confident now. So first up, accessibility. I know this is a vital consideration in legal settings, but how do I answer something like, how do you ensure your reporting is accessible to all parties involved?
So this is where you really want to showcase your knowledge of different formats and assistive technologies. So you could mention any experience you have with creating transcripts in Braille or large print, or your familiarity with software. That provides real-time captioning for people with hearing impairments.
And if I've worked with interpreters before, definitely highlight that.
Oh, absolutely. It shows your commitment to inclusivity and ensuring that everyone has equal access to that information. You could even go a step further and mention any specific industry standards for accessibility that you're familiar with, just to show that you're really on top of best practices.
That's a great tip. Okay, so let's shift gears a little bit to staying current in this, rapidly evolving field. How do I answer a question like, how do you stay up to date with changes in court reporting technology and practices?
So here's where you really want to highlight your passion for continuous learning. So talk about professional development courses you've taken, industry conferences you've attended, subscriptions to legal publications, anything that really shows that you are actively engaged with that evolving landscape of the field.
Don't forget those online communities and forums where court reporters are sharing knowledge and resources. Participating in those really shows that you're plugged into the latest trends and conversations.
Excellent point. And this is another area where RoleCatcher's AI can be super helpful. It can actually help you find specific examples of recent advancements in court reporting technology, so you can really tailor your answer to what that employer is looking for.
So instead of just saying, oh, I attend conferences, I can say something like, I recently attended a webinar on the use of artificial intelligence in real-time court reporting and its implications for accuracy and efficiency.
Exactly. That kind of detail really shows that you're not just passively absorbing information, but you're actively seeking out knowledge that's relevant to the job and the future of the industry.
Okay, I feel like I'm pretty prepared now to handle those common questions. But what about those curveballs you mentioned? Are there any specific examples that I should be ready for?
Well, sometimes interviewers like to throw in these behavioral questions to kind of assess your soft skills and how you handle different situations. So, for example, they might ask you, tell me about a time you made a mistake. How did you handle it?
Oh, that one always makes me nervous. It feels like a trap.
It's not a trap. It's really just an opportunity to showcase your honesty, your accountability, and your problem-solving skills. The key here is to choose an example where you made a genuine mistake. You learned from it, and then you took steps to prevent it from happening again.
Okay, so instead of trying to pretend like I'm perfect, I should focus on showing that I can learn and grow from my mistakes.
Exactly. Everyone makes mistakes. It's how you handle them that matters. And remember, RoleCatcher's AI can even help you practice your answers to these behavioral questions and get feedback on your tone and delivery to make sure you're conveying the right message.
This is all making me feel so much more prepared and confident. I feel like I have a real advantage going into this interview.
That's what we want. Remember, you've got the skills, you've got the knowledge, and now you have the tools to showcase your potential. So go out there and ace that interview.
We believe in you. And remember, this is just the beginning of your court reporting journey. RoleCatcher has a ton of resources on career progression. So keep exploring, keep learning, and never stop pushing yourself to grow in this really exciting field.
And here's a final thought. As you kind of embark on this path, how do you see yourself shaping the future of court reporting? It's a question worth pondering as you step into this role, and you contribute your unique skills and perspectives to this evolving profession